Welcome back to HHSTV coverage of the Democratic National Convention. Today I'll be sitting down with Iowa Delegate Chris Petersen, who supports Bernie Sanders. Chris Petersen is an independent farmer in Iowa. He is a past president of the Iowa Farmers Union and is involved with many other organizations. He's been advocating for traditional rural America for over 30 years. What follows is my interview with him.
I'm here with Bernie Sanders delegate, Chris Petersen from Iowa. Mr. Petersen, thank you for joining me today.
Yep, thank you.
First, I'd like you to tell me a little bit about yourself. How did you get involved with politics?
Well, I've been a family farmer all my life, north central Iowa, and I've been involved in politics one way or another all my life. And my first inkling of any politics was the day that John Kennedy was shot. I was in grade school, I remember that day. And from there on, I got more interested, more involved in politics. In 1968, I was a big fan of Bobby Kennedy. I was 14 at that time. I handed out literature, political literature during the campaign for him in my hometown.
So, why Bernie Sanders? Why not Hillary Clinton? Why not Donald Trump?
Well, to me, that's pretty simple. I'm a very progressive person. I believe in people. I believe in the values of the 99%. So, here we go. John Kennedy, Martin Luther King, Bobby Kennedy, Paul Wellstone, the late great senator from Minnesota, Tom Harkin, Iowa. So I'm a very progressive-minded person, so I always pick those candidates first.
So, have you ever been a delegate before? Have you ever played a role in the national politics spectrum?
Oh yeah, I've been involved in politics the last 20 years, up and down. This is my third national convention. I was a national delegate for Vice President Gore. I was one of his advisors on agriculture and rural issues. Being from Iowa, you're involved at the national level every 4 years. Every Democratic candidate that has come to Iowa as a running for president, they know me.
So, who did you support in 2012 or in 2008 for president?
Okay, in 2012, of course, it was Barack Obama. I was at the convention down in North Carolina. And 2008, I started out a John Edwards guy. Ended up, of course, with Barack Obama.
What are your thoughts so far on this primary cycle, specifically where it's been mostly Hillary Clinton versus Bernie Sanders?
Well, at the beginning, you know, we had Martin O'Malley in Iowa, too, a very good guy. Again, I'm a progressive guy, and the reason I went with Sanders is his progressive ideas, public option and health care, livable wage, raising the minimum wage, climate change issues, family farm. They have a very, very good platform on family farm stuff, and to me, it was a no-brainer. And I believe the Democratic Party, if it's going to survive, we need to embrace progressive change. Status quo politics is not working.
Do you believe that the system has been fair this cycle towards Bernie Sanders?
Well, I was kind of on the fence about that till the last few days when the big story broke about the DNC emails and stuff. So I'm very disgusted. And I'm very disappointed this talk was going on back and forth in emails within the DNC.
What have your thoughts been on Hillary Clinton during this cycle? Do you think that she's acted fairly?
Do you think she's what?
Do you think that Hillary Clinton has acted fairly, or has the fault entirely fallen on the DNC?
Well, you know, Hillary Clinton's running for office, so you know, I don't like some of her policy stuff, but, you know, she's been fair.
Now, assuming Hillary Clinton wins the nomination, what do you think are the odds that she would win in November?
Well, first of all, for what Donald Trump stands for and what he's saying, my personal opinion, he doesn't deserve to win. And number two, if he does win, God help us.
Do you think that Hillary is definitely going to get the nomination?
The Democratic nomination?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Are you going to support Hillary or a third-party candidate instead, assuming she's the nominee?
Well, I'm not going to throw my vote away. After this week, I will probably vote for Hillary Clinton.
Do you agree with Bernie Sanders supporters being told by Bernie himself to vote for Hillary? Or do you think they should vote for their conscience?
Well, that's up to an individual, you know. I love Sanders and his policy, but, you know, since he endorsed Hillary Clinton, I don't want Donald Trump for president. And point being, you know, us from the Sanders side, we've got a lot of stuff, his issues that he talked about, into the mindset of Hillary Clinton and her people of what this country needs and wants. And if and when she's elected, I expect all these Sanders people, young, old, all, to be nipping at the heels of Hillary Clinton to get some things done. Because the largest voting bloc in America now are the independents for what the Democratic Party is supposed to stand for. 99% of them people should be with Democrats. The Republicans shouldn't be winning hardly any elections.
So, as for the issues now, what do you think is the most important issue that people from Iowa face?
I'm a farmer, so I'm very opinionated on certain issues. A national issue, I guess. Healthcare costs. Healthcare access. We should have universal healthcare. At the very least, we should have a public option. I'm an independent farmer, so I got to go out and buy insurance. We pay more in insurance in a year than what a lot of people make in this country. So that needs to be addressed, big time.
Do you think that that's also the most important issue that Americans in general face?
Well, Americans in general, we need a livable wage. We need a return, a fair share of return of our labor. I'm sick and tired of the record highs on Wall Street and the record welfare money going out to people who can't get a livable wage paying job. This has to change.
So the platform of the Democratic Party just being adopted is called the most liberal, the most progressive platform in the history of the Democratic Party. What issues were you happy to see added?
The public option for health care, a livable wage, the climate change stuff, some of the environmental stuff. But I'll go a step further than that. You need to pull up the Iowa Democratic Party platform and look at our rural and ag policy, which is basically omitted in the national policy of the party. And, you know, if Democrats are going to win in rural, they need to quit ignoring rural issues.
So do you think that that is the most important issue that should have been added to the platform?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. And we feed this country. And the independent family farms, I'm not talking about agriculture in general, I'm talking about family farm agriculture. The family, the independent farmer who has fed this country for 200 plus years, okay? We're being squeezed out by big industrialized corporate agriculture. That's wrong.
Were there any other issues that you wished would have been added to the platform that weren't?
Oh, right offhand, there's a lot of them out there. Environmental stuff, enforcement of environmental regulations. clean up the water, which is a huge problem in Iowa and this country, as a matter of fact. And, nobody likes regulation and oversight, but if you're doing nothing wrong, you have nothing to worry about. That's the way with business oversight or any oversight. If you're doing things in a fair and within the law fashion, you have nothing to worry about.
Do you think that some of the issues that were added to the platform can be attributed directly to the Bernie Sanders campaign?
Oh, absolutely. A great deal of them. And that's what I mean. If it wasn't for Sanders coming along and all of us, all the young kids and us older guys, I don't know where it'd be at today. The Democratic Party needs to stick to principles, and that's standing up for the issues of the working class, the 99% or whatever you want to call us.
Do you think that the platform will have practical effects on this election? Do you think that some voters will think it's too liberal and be deterred by it if they're a moderate?
Well, moderate, liberal, whatever. Keep in mind, the vast majority of the people in this country are working class people. It's not a liberal platform. It's a working class platform for the common good of this country and its people.
Do you think that Donald Trump can be compared to Bernie Sanders in that he too has launched what he calls a revolution, as well as Bernie Sanders does, in that he's gripping the people, he's a voice for the middle class?
Bernie Sanders is a divider, and by that I mean it's everybody. He believes in a world of everybody for themselves. It's all about me. No oversight, no regulations on guns or wages or the environment. Do away with any government to speak of. It's everybody for themselves. God help us if that happens.
What do you think will be the practical effects of this election cycle? Do you think that we're going to be seeing more Bernie Sanders type candidates in the 2020 election or even congressional elections coming up?
I'm very hopeful, and I'm going to be 62 years old. I've seen these surges before. In the 60s, when I was a teenager, we got a lot of things done. And then it just kind of petered out. I don't know what happened. Then the late 90s, Paul Wellstone and the progressive movement, it surged again. And here we are, we're back again. This time, I hope it's here to stay. We need to move this country to a more progressive form of government.
Do you worry about Hillary Clinton as the Democratic Party nominee, considering how she has 59% unfavorable ratings?
Yeah, that bothers me. And I can see why.
Is she electable?
No, that's up to the people to decide. I think she is at the end of the day if she plays her cards right.
Have you been following the RNC?
Pardon?
The RNC in Cleveland?
Oh, yeah.
And what are your thoughts on the RNC?
Wow. I don't have the words for it. I can't believe politics can go that low. I really don't. It's just, we're better than that. This country's better than that.
What are your thoughts on Mike Pence, Donald Trump's running mate?
Yes, man. He'll be a good soldier. Yeah, I know some stuff. I do some national advocacy work on ag and the environment. And if you want a guy that's going to say nothing about people polluting the environment and promoting industrial ag, he's your man.
How do you think Mike Pence compares to Hillary Clinton's choice of running mate in Tim Kaine?
I don't know Tim Kaine that well. I'm lukewarm to him. I wish she would have picked a far more outspoken running mate. Cory Booker, who spoke last night, that would be great. Wow, that's all I can say. He cares and speaks from the heart. He's not reserved about standing up for what should be said and done.
Do you think that Republicans can unify under Donald Trump?
Time will tell, but I don't see it to a large degree.
Now, of course, there's a difference in generation between my high school and your advice from your experiences in the 1960s. What do you think is the biggest change in politics that you've seen from your generation to mine?
Money.
Money?
Money in politics. The elections are being bought. Legislation by the money is being lobbied in D.C. It seems like the working class is kind of being left behind or thrown under the bus. So it's all about money these days.
What actions do you think that the representatives and senators in Congress can do to change that problem?
Get the money out of politics. I wouldn't mind publicly funded elections. Shorten the election cycles. Most every other industrialized country in the world has far shorter election cycles. I think that's good.
What do you hope that Hillary Clinton's legacy will be?
Turning around the demise and the shrinking of the middle class.
Now, this video will hopefully be viewed by high school students. Do you have any closing remarks, especially for them?
Well, yeah, lots of them. We got a couple of kids, they're married now, but they're involved, getting involved in politics. And the young folks out there, I'm 62 now. I've fought the good fight all my life for the common people. You people need to pick up the torch. You need to make this a far better country. Get your education. Hopefully you won't end up with tens of thousands of dollars of college debt. That needs to be addressed, which Senator Sanders addressed, which is now in the Clinton campaign. Pay attention to the issues. Vote your conscience of what's the best for you. And don't walk away from being involved. The least you can do is go vote. Do it for my dad, who fought in World War II in the jungles of the Pacific. Do it for the Vietnam vets. I lost 2 close friends in Vietnam. Do it for the people who gave it all for this country. Get out and vote.
Well, Mr. Petersen, thank you for your time.
Oh, absolutely.